Muhammad was disgraced, apparently by God, with a humiliating death. Now, what could we as Christians mean here? Because as Christians, we believe Jesus died on the cross. And in movies, you see him, he has a loincloth and so on. Maybe not historically accurate, right? Jesus might have been up on that cross stark naked, enduring this, absolutely humiliating death. How is that different? Well, look at the situations. Jesus died that death and he rose from the dead, vindicating him. Muhammad, on the other hand, died a very interesting death because Jesus predicted that that's how he's going to die. He said, this is how I'm going to die, and here's what's going to happen so that you know who I am. Muhammad had a revelation saying that if he's a false prophet, there's a certain way he's going to die. Let me go ahead and read that passage. This is in the Quran. This is chapter 69, verses 44 through 46, and you can read several translations. I'm going to read the M.H. Shakir translation. Chapter 69, verses 44 through 46. And if he had fabricated, this is Allah speaking about Muhammad, and if he had fabricated against us some of the sayings, so if Muhammad is inventing revelations, if he had fabricated against us some of the sayings, we would certainly have seized him by the right hand, then we would certainly have cut off his aorta. So the different translations say either cut off his aorta or sever his aorta, sever his life vein. Now what's interesting about this is we have multiple passages in the hadith which talked about how Muhammad died after he was poisoned by a Jewish woman whose many of the people in her town had been slaughtered by Muslims at the command of Muhammad. She brought him dinner one night, and genius that he was, decided to eat the meal brought to him by this woman whose family members had been slaughtered by Muslims, and it was poison. So let me go ahead and read part of one passage. It's a long hadith, so I'll just read part of it. Sunan Abu Dawud, 4498. A Jewess presented Muhammad at Khaybar with a roasted sheep which she had poisoned. The apostle of Allah ate of it, and the people also ate. He then said, lift your hands from eating, for it has informed me that it is poison. One of Muhammad's companions dies from it. And he asked the woman, what motivated you to do the work you have done? She said, if you were a prophet, it would not harm you. But if you were a king, I would rid the people of you. The apostle of Allah then ordered regarding her, and she was killed. He then said about the pain of which he died. So this is later. He then said about the pain of which he died, I continued to feel pain from the morsel which I had eaten at Khaybar. This is the time when it has cut off my aorta. Muhammad eats some of the poison. He starts spitting it out eventually because his followers could taste the poison. But notice Muhammad says he receives a revelation telling him that it's being poisoned when his followers could taste the poison, right? Yeah. Conveniently, after putting some in his mouth, he gets a revelation that it's poison.
Instead of before, right?
Yeah. But Muhammad ingests some of the poison. It doesn't kill him instantly, but it does enough damage to his internal system that he is in agony for the next couple years of his life until he dies because of what this poison did to him. And how does he describe it? This is the time when it has cut off my aorta. It has cut off my aorta. And just to go back to what Allah says he would do if Muhammad was a false prophet, and if he had fabricated against us some of the sayings, we would certainly have seized him by the right hand, then we would certainly have cut off his aorta. So you have various translations of the Quran here saying severed his aorta, or cut off his aorta, and you have multiple ahadith saying that his aorta was severed or that his aorta was cut off. Wow. And I mean, think about this. Of all the different ways you could die, wow, you have to die in the exact way you said you would die if you're a false prophet. In other words, of all the different ways you could die, millions of ways to die, Allah says, if he's a false prophet, this is the way he's going to die, and Muhammad dies saying, that's exactly what's happening to me. Very, very disturbing stuff if you're a Muslim, but not for us.